This multiple man movement deck goes absolutely crazy. I got infinite rank on the first day of the season. I started at rank 83, I ended at rank 100. It took me 6 hours with a win rate of 61%, but this deck is so good at farming 8-cube victories, outmaneuvering your opponent, and bamboozling them. There is so much to talk about with this deck because it is the highest skill ceiling deck in Marvel Snap. Ghost Spider, the new Battle Pass card, is my favorite Battle Pass card of all time. I have been having so much fun, and my favorite movement deck is, of course, the Multiple Man combo. The key to Multiple Man is not just making lots of copies of a 3-point card, but we want to be buffing this card up with our Forge and with our Hulkbuster. The biggest mistake I see people make with this deck is playing Iron Fist on turn 1. Even if you only have Iron Fist as a 1 energy card, it is almost always better to skip turn 1 and save Iron Fist for a little bit later on. The main reason for that is because of the synergy Iron Fist has with Hulkbuster. We're going to be playing Hulkbuster into the right location onto either Human Torch or Multiple Man. Because Hulkbuster merges with a random card, we want to be making sure it's only Human Torch and Multiple Man into the far right location early on in the game. If we play Iron Fist before Hulkbuster, whatever card Hulkbuster merges with will be moved to the left. This means if we merge our Hulkbuster with a Multiple Man, it's going to be 7 points, and then Iron Fist will move it instantly to have 2 7-point Multiple Men. A lot better than 3 points, of course. This same combo with Human Torch is going to be giving us a 6-point Human Torch, which moves straight away for a 12-point Human Torch after 1 Iron Fist play. So the right location is reserved early game for Multiple Man, Hulkbuster, and Human Torch, but what about the other positioning? Because it is really important with this deck. Kraven is another powerhouse early game card in this deck, and if you're playing any cards to the far left location, your Kraven is going to be losing out on points. Of course, you don't want to be playing Kraven to the far right because you want to be moving cards into his location with Iron Fist and Heimdall, so the middle location is the perfect setup for Kraven. The reason for this is when you play Heimdall on turn 6, all of your cards in the middle location can move to the right, buffing up Kraven by 6 points, but you're also going to be getting those extra points for when you Iron Fist your Human Torch, your Multiple Man, from the far right location into the middle. This also means you do not want any cards to the far left location when you play Kraven, because you are going to be missing out on points on Kraven by moving less cards to his location. On turn 1, you're able to play Human Torch if you would like. Bear in mind, sometimes it's better to just wait and not play it because you might have Forge in hand. If you don't have Multiple Man, for example, you might want to save that Forge and Hulkbuster for your Human Torch and get a Human Torch at around 32 points or above. It's very doable. However, if we have Multiple Man in hand, it is pretty much safe to always play down your Human Torch into the middle or the far right location on turn 1. On turn 2, we want to be playing Forge, Kraven, Multiple Man, or Dagger. The priority is going to be Forge if you have that Multiple Man or Human Torch in hand. On turn 3, we want to be preparing our Hulkbuster. So Multiple Man onto the far right location. If we've played Forge on turn 2, our Multiple Man then will come down into the far right location at 5 points. We can then, with our 1 leftover energy, play Iron Fist. However, you can also play your Iron Fist as the first card on turn number 4, followed by Hulkbuster to move that Multiple Man. If we had Forge and we also had the Hulkbuster go through onto Multiple Man, that is going to result in a Multiple Man at 9 points to the right and middle locations. Ghost Spider can also be played after your Hulkbuster to move that card again. This is particularly powerful with Human Torch. Turn 5 is where we really need to start moving our cards and getting that payoff. So your key cards on turn 5 and perhaps turn 4 are going to be Cloak and Ghost Spider. Cloak on turn 6 as a play is risky because it works a little bit like the New York location where your opponent can bamboozle you and outplay you. However, with Cloak, you often want to be playing the Cloak into a location where your opponent has a bunch of cards. Also, if you move your Kraven into your Cloak location, all of your opponent's cards which move into that Cloak lane are going to be getting you 2 points on your Kraven. Often, you want to be playing Cloak into the far right or the middle location to set up that big Heimdall. However, if you don't have access to Heimdall, Cloak to the far left location is also a serious consideration on turn 5. Finally, on turn 6 is where your last decision decision is going to be made, because often it's going to be super tempting to just slam that Heimdall down and pop off, get as many points as possible. However, what you need to be really careful about in movement is putting too many points in one location and being weak in the other two. Movement decks are usually, when you play Heimdall, quite weak in the far right location, and that's where multiple man can help you out, because when you move multiple man, he's going to of course move back to that far right location, and rather than just being left with 8 points to the right, you're going to be having 8 points plus however big your multiple man is. So if you have a 9-point multiple man and a Heimdall, you're going to have 17 points to the far right location. Like, this extra 7 points we have here to the right makes us so much more confident that we're winning the game. And Forge is a big part of, you know, not a big part of it in this case, but a lot of the time it can be a big factor. The other thing to consider on turn 6 is not playing Heimdall at all. Against very good players, they're often going to know if they are beating Heimdall with a specific play, and that's where America Chavez comes in and can surprise your opponent. There's so many times I'll play America Chavez into a location. While it's total less points than Heimdall, my opponent is anticipating me moving all my stuff to the left. Maybe they have 50 points in one of the locations to the left, and I just don't want to be moving my stuff in there, and that's where Chavez can really do the business. Unorthodox, but let's try it. They expect the Heimdall! The Chavez comes through! And she cleans up and does the business. That's how you play movement, ladies and gentlemen. You don't even need to move much. She is also providing us a bunch of consistency, improving the odds of us drawing our multiple man combos early game, which are so crucial for this particular build of the deck. So to summarize, early game you want to be setting up your movement engines like Kraven, multiple man and Human Torch. Then on around turn 4 and turn 5, you want to be getting your movement payoff cards like Ghost Spider, Cloak, and Iron Fist, and then finally on turn 6 you're often going to be playing either Heimdall or Chavez. Around 80% of the time it's Heimdall, but I do play Chavez more often than you would imagine. When should you snap with this deck and when should you retreat? Well, movement decks are really very dependent on the location, so you're going to be needing to look out for locations which suit this deck. Any location which is moving cards, of course, you can almost certainly be snapping. If you see Bifrost, Strange Academy, you can snap without too much concern. The other locations which are really great for movement are locations which restrict players from being able to play cards there. For example, Sanctumorium and Klein, if they are to the left or the middle location, are very easy to win with Human Torch and Heimdall. However, if those locations are to the right, such as Sanctumorium as the right location, you're going to have a much more difficult time with a move deck, and that is almost retreat worthy. Locations which can be a real struggle for movement are things like Dead Space, Savage Land, Central Park, anything which is restricting your board space, making your Hulkbuster a 50-50 situation where it can latch onto something bad. Those kind of locations are really awkward for this deck. Moreover, this deck has 3 particularly bad matchups, which you should be trying to concede for just 1 or 2 cubes when you spot them. Firstly, Galactus is a huge problem for this deck, and you're pretty much always going to be losing unless your opponent does something wrong or draws particularly badly. It's fine to just be moving on for 1 or 2 cubes against those Galactus players. There's not that many of them right now at the time of recording. Rock clog decks where they're playing Green Goblin and all these kinds of things on your side of the board can also be a problem. They're also not too popular, but one very popular deck which should be a big problem for move decks is these lockdown decks. Cards like Storm to the far right location and Professor X are huge problems for movement decks, and those are the kinds of matchups you should be conceding and not losing too many cubes against. There's a few considerations with this one, the main one being Doctor Strange or Wave in for Forge. Wave is a really nice card in the current meta, but she just doesn't really fit with the multiple man package. As soon as this Forge gets cut, the deck does feel a lot worse with multiple man. You could also try adding a card like Magneto instead of Chavez to give you a different turn 6 finisher. And while of course Magneto is a better card to play than Chavez, Chavez's ability of only being drawn on turn 6 just means that you have much more options with this deck and combo cards. This deck is all about the combos. Chavez is just much better than Magneto in my opinion. Doctor Strange is also available instead of Ghost Spider. Ghost Spider just pretty much a complete upgrade on Doctor Strange in this deck. I hope you enjoyed this masterclass on movement. Again, if you enjoyed this style of video, let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoy the gameplay and learn a thing or two more. Right, we don't want to Iron Fist on 1. Do not do it. Human Torch and Multiple Man, usually you want to keep them in the right lane on their own so you can Hulkbuster them guaranteed. We'll take the multiple man because if I hit Hulkbuster, I actually want to play the Hulkbuster next, I think. That's not even true. I want to go Kraven Iron Fist. Kraven Iron Fist is just a nice turn 2 anyway. We hit Ghost Spider. You also want to leave the left lane empty to maximize your points on your Kraven. So the positioning that you have here is pretty important usually. The right lane you want to be somewhat empty, and the left lane you want to be somewhat empty. The right lane with the exception of Human Torch and Multiple Man, and the left lane with the exception of Kraven. You can just have the Kraven to the left on its own. Kraven doesn't count itself when it's moved. But generally it's better to play Kraven middle, because then now I've Iron Fisted, right? I don't want to Iron Fist a card to the left straight away, because then I can't Heimdall it. However, with Ghost Spider, that's actually not quite the case, right? So here I can go Dagger to the left and then Ghost Spider it back. They don't have many points, so let's snap and just try and scare them off. And we didn't set it up exactly that much. But look at this Dagger! And she's not even going to get hit by the Cyclops because... Ghost Spider tings. Shame she doesn't get any value off the Ghost Spider, but it is what it is. We'll just take the Forge off to the right here. And then we've got the decision on, do we go for the obvious Heimdall or the surprise Chavez? And I actually think the surprise Chavez is the play here because of the Heimdall being so obvious. They're going to play to beat Heimdall because Heimdall makes you very weak on the right location. And this is another prime example of why Chavez is just so crucial in a deck like this. It is a decision we have to make and really consider. The other thing we could consider doing is Heimdalling left, because this leaves our Dagger mid. It puts our Forge, our 4-point Human Torch, 3-point Multiple Man mid. We've got 22 mid with this play, nothing to the right. Unorthodox, but let's try it. They expect the Heimdall! The Chavez comes through! And she cleans up and does the business. Beautiful game! That's how you play movement, ladies and gentlemen. You don't even need to move much. This is a good location for us. Obviously base. Maybe it's not the best snap. Oh, it's a nice hand. Nice curve. I want to turn it into like... Basically, I'll do a speed run pretty much at the end of every season. If you guys didn't see, I set the new record on Sunday by 7 minutes. It took us 7 hours, 40 minutes to get Infinite on a fresh account.
Live from the Daily Bugle.
And then on the first day of the new season, I want to do like 1 sitting to Infinite. People just need to know that I'm actually quite good at the game when I try. I just don't try that much because the flipping stake, like the rank system after Infinite is just garbaggio. I do also need to start winning some tournaments, starting with Creator Clash in the UK. If you're watching on YouTube, give the stream a like. Much appreciated. That's a big multiple man, 9-point multiple man. This is like the perfect ordering we've had this game, where you go, you don't play Iron Fist on 1, you play Forge on 2. On 3, you go multiple man Iron Fist, and on 4, Hulkbuster. We have the Heimdall, we have the Cloak. I definitely like the look of Cloak. Then the decision is going to be, do we go Cloak, Dagger, Cloak, Kraven? Of course, we could also just go Dagger, Kraven and set up the big Heimdall. To be fair, we have a lot of points to the right with multiple man. I wonder if actually... Okay, here's the spicy take. We do Cloak here, because then we can move this other multiple man in as well, and we get even more points to the right. Because I'm just worried that Darkhawk might beat us here. Don't go for it anyway. Wow, this Darkhawk is a lot of points. Okay, I'm actually not as worried now, so I think I can just Heimdall mid. Or maybe Heimdall left, in fact. Let's go Heimdall left. Remember, we have a multiple man middle. Oh, they moved their stuff with Cloak as well. I forgot about that. We should be good. Dagger gets the value. We move her mid. We have enough left. We have 18 to the right. It looks like it could be a 3-0. We'll have to see what comes down middle. The dagger, 16. Look at the multiple mans. Oh my god. No, it's Hazmat! It's Gambit. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. Game? Look! Oh! Woo! What a feeling. The multiple man's popped off beyond belief. Like, put some respect on this guy's name, mate. Look at the Hulkbuster doing his thing. This is also a pain. Got a bit unlucky there a couple of times. We can move Human Torch a couple of times with it's a real shame like the Iron Fist got hit, because we could have moved Human Torch like 3 times in one turn here. It's a lot of points, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of points. Hulkbuster is so good, man. I mean, I think America Chavez is like 16. Although I guess she's just represented at that age, right? Most of the time. But, I mean, ultimately, I'm sure she lives a long and prosperous life. $14? How can a superhero just have one age, though? Did she just die after a year? I'm not sure that makes sense. Oh, Hela. Wait, they can still win there. What just happened? Yeah, you just got wrecked by the ghost spider. That's what just happened, son. And the multiple mans. All 3 of them. Get in. Victory. Or Bamiyang also might be off to Saudi. Bloody hell. Every time I just like open my browser and scroll through Twitter, I see news of another player potentially moving to Saudi Arabia. Insane. It's actually better to go for the dagger, right? Multiple man doesn't benefit that much off Sinister London because a lot of its ability is in the fact that it makes copies. Dagger, on the other hand. Ooh. Iron Fist is also... Ooh! Hello! I think we're winning this game, guys. Just a hunch. Huh? For real? Alright. I am confident. Thumbs up. Lord Jesus, have mercy. They're going to Patriot us. I mean, I don't think they have much more clog, right? So, we're obviously going to Chavez or Heimdall. Means you have another turn to think about what our next play is. Is Ghost Spider good? Not really. The best is just Cloak, isn't it? Okay, we might be losing. This debris was very rude. For science! The dagger's big to the left. Yeah, we got him. We got him, ladies and gents. 8 cubes. Thank you, dagger. The bamboozle. Just the ability to outplay your opponents with this deck is just extraordinary. We'll take the Kraven. Pretty good start for us. The fact they've played nothing yet. Need some kind of card to actually move, though, for value. Multiple man off the top would just be wonderful. They're a Hela deck, and they just discarded Hela. We're going to snap. This is where they get something that helps them out, and I feel like a wally. Nice. What? Why? Why would they do that? We're going to move Kraven, of course. Bit scary. I'm a bit scared. There's a lot going on here with the cloak. We don't want to overdo it to the right. Going to make use of Atlantis here. And while I could have had dagger mid, I just decided instead to have like a nice... Higher, further, faster, baby. We win. Never in doubt. Oh my god. Odin on Sif, Hela? That's insane. Hello! This is one big Hulkbuster. Wow. 24 points. Hello. Hello, hello. Quite a few vultures, son. Yo, though. Beast is pretty good. Yeah, we're going to look at doing a bounce one as well. Last card I played was this vulture mid. So we move it left. Chavez mid. GG. No re. Adios. Woo! They didn't play anything. What is going on with my opponent here? I've been popping off, and they're just making my deck not look that impressive. Have they got like APOC in hand, and they're going to Modok? Modok into Bar Sinister, we could actually lose to? Is that possible? Yeah, and they do have 7 cards in hand, so all these Dracs could eat, but we have a 24-point Hulkbuster. Because obviously Modok mid is going to discard, if they have APOC in hand, APOC, but oh my god, they've played it out. Is it really like Modok Wasp? Something like that I've been saying, or Modok and a 1-drop. Modok Blade. It's Jubilee. I'm not that scared then, I must admit. Hulk, uh-oh. We lost the left. Oh god. I mean, it's only 2 energy. Wasp, so that's fine. We win mid. All eyes on Dracula. Oh, Infernaut is a card that exists. The Hulk is here already. They could be playing Giganto like I do in mine. Chavez is likely as well. That's 19 points. Oh no, they play the Giganto! They hit High Evo, they hit the Chavez, and the Infernaut. We would beat Infernaut still there. GG. Infernaut was last card in hand though. So if they hit Infernaut instead of High Evolutionary, that's 16 points more, and we would have lost. Oh my god, it's my boy. Been a long time since me and Freddy have played Snap against each other. My goodness. It's been a few months. Nebula, you little sweat bag. Look at Freddy playing the OP cards. Have you no shame? Ah! All the OP cards, mate. He has all the OP cards. What the hell? That's a joke. Haha. He's going for the Guardians lockdown deck. So Professor X mid is a big read we have. I mean, realistically, I should retreat. I'm not going to. I'm not a pussy. Well, actually, that's debatable. Spider-Man to the right. He has Nebula in every deck. That's because Nebula's broken. We'll play this one out, even though I think I'm in a bad spot. We'll see. I'm just going to go for the Chavez play, obviously. Ghost Spider. Miles. Oh, mate. Freddy's deck's looking saucy. So he's going to have the read that Heimdall left ain't cutting it for me. It's just simply not enough points. So he knows I'm not going for Heimdall left. I'm going to snap because it seems like a 50-50. Let's go! Woo! Yes! What a feeling. This is the best movement deck. You won't find a better one. This is the list. It feels bad that Doctor Strange doesn't make the cut, but he needs a buff. Forge is very cuttable, no doubt. We will play the Forge here. But I just really like it. Like, this is where you just want to be playing a card like Forge. Like, Cloak would be okay here in fairness, but like, if we miss Forge, I just like, this is good. I really like Multiple Man. I really like Human Torch, and both these cards feel lackluster without the Forge. And I really like Hulkbuster too. And they just come as a package, really. Of course you can copy it, mate. Knock yourself out. We're not going to snap here because it's not been a very good opening for us. We don't have a very good board set up. Could be worse. We can go Hulkbuster, Ghost Spider. I think that's the best play. So what you can also do with Ghost Spider, right? We could have forged the Multiple Man and then Hulkbusted it and then ghosted it. Pretty cool. Looks like a bot, doesn't it? And the other big reason Multiple Man is just too good not to be playing in a movement deck is so you actually end up with points to the right. Like, this extra 7 points we have here to the right makes us so much more confident that we're winning the game. And Forge is a big part of, you know, not a big part of it in this case, but a lot of the time it can be a big factor. Kitty Pride, this is one of those matchups we would love to have Wave in the deck, but alas, we do not. We could take Multiple Man, but then our Forge becomes a lot worse. Hela's quite scary. Let's just go Kraven off to the left. Usually Kraven mid is slightly better. Just realized Ghost Spider makes Shuri viable again. Yeah, seems so. Seems so, somewhat at least. Opponent snaps. I'm not going to run necessarily. Lizard might suggest some kind of Storm follow-up. We're not playing Forge at this point, it's too late. I didn't need to snap here in fairness, but I'm looking good into Hela. They might try and go for it as well. Maybe not. It's kind of obvious, right? They might go for it and beat us though in Hela. That's a lot of cards. And that's pretty scary if they do in fact have a Killmonger. 12-point Human Torch. Doesn't look like we're getting Killmongered on. That's good news. Okay. Ebony Maw is 7 points, so Heimdall to the right is an option, maybe. We're going Ghost Spider. For sure. 24-point Torch. I think we just go Ghost Spider here. And then we just want to set up the most points in a single lane elsewhere. The problem with Ghost Spider is there's almost too many points in one lane, right? Like 24 points is too much. How are we winning another lane if I do that? That's a weak play, isn't it? We always move the multiple man. That's a no-brainer. I think it's this. Again, like, you're really tempted to move the human torch because it's points. Doubling points, but we just don't need it, right? Might be a loss. Nice. Really nice win. GG. 8 cubes. Big torch over the right play is big torch over a win is always the right play. Maybe not. And then we're going to play some different versions. And the deck guide probably will take a little while to do because I'm really trying to improve the quality of them. I guess it makes sense to just stack Shuri's Lab. Hulkbuster into Shuri's Lab is interesting, but we can do that later. I mean, it's like it's okay. It's okay to be like to have like good business practices and make lots of money, which the game already does, right? But like to actually just mislead the player base and not communicate about it is a whole different matter. But yeah, I need to look into the finer details of it all still. Quite a lot of points we've accumulated here. Just a few. I'm not sure this Ghost Spider is particularly good. Actually, what could have been interesting is Ghost Spidering the cloak away so I could move 2 cards to the right still. Oh my god, imagine if they go for the Shang-Chi mid and then suddenly the Ghost Spider's popping off on main stage. If it happens, I might queef in my pants. Please Shang-Chi me. Please go for the Shang-Chi. Oh! Dodged. Fortunately, Chavez does actually get me there to the right. If they don't play Rockslide. They've already played Korg. Ah, Chavez right was winning. Does this win still? It's very close. I think we're fine, right? I think we got him. Yes. 1 cube away from 100. There's only one way to get to infinite rank, and it's with a snap! We've done this once before. We got infinite with a snap and not playing anything, and we've done it again. GG. Flip. It didn't work, mate. We'll go Vulture to the right so we get the Kraven buff. I think I know what's coming! Kneel before Galactus, see. The Ghost Spider says no, Galactus. You little douchebag! Now, one problem we have is the Shang-Chi. We're drawing the Chavez. The null's pretty large. We're staying in. Hulkbuster plays further into Shang-Chi, so we're probably going to be forced to go Cloak Dagger. We could go Cloak Hulkbuster. Chances are we're fine. And that it just merges with this anyway. They can't play Shang-Chi and Null. Probably a bit unnecessary of an unnecessary risk. 1 in 3 times to Shang-Chi. Come on, Hulkbuster. Do not merge with the Vulture, you little douchebag. Thank you, Ghost Spider. Ghost Spider carrying us against Galactus for infinite rank. Here we go. Woo! Infinite, baby. With movement. Admittedly, in one day, in one sitting, it took us 7 hours to go from 83 to rank 100. And we even played some memes along the way. Movement is officially back. Absolutely fantastic deck. Ghost Spider is phenomenal. This is the best version of the list that you will find. I absolutely love Movement more than I can even tell you. Ghost Spider is my favourite Season Pass card of all time. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe. You don't have to include that.